Hey guys, I want to make a sort of quick video. I wanted to make a 10-minute video and it turned out to be 40 minutes, and I was like, that's too long. So I want to try to make a 2-minute video, and maybe it's going to be like, somewhere around 10 minutes. Preface, a few years ago, I was like super skeptical about everything. I was like, you got to have like double-blind, placebo-controlled, peer-reviewed evidence, or else it's like bogus, or at least unknown, and you can't make any assumptions based on it. A couple of years ago, I kind of thought, well, you know what? I'm going to start learning other perspectives, and I'm just going to like see what happens. And I did, and I came to this, I started to notice things that I didn't notice before. And in the same way, let's say, I don't know how gravity works. I don't know how electricity works. I mean, I know like about electrons and stuff like that. And I don't really know how magnetism works. But all of these things, you can observe their effects, and we can observe enough of their effects to the point that we can take advantage of them and use them in the way that we want them to. We can channel them. So, and that's why I have, computers, cell phones, all this stuff. So what happens is, for things like that, for things like, electricity and gravity and magnetism, you can use physical instruments and physically, document things based on the data received from the physical instrument. But you don't have instruments for the mind, right? Besides, maybe you can get like a beta wave or something like that. But really, like, what's happening in your imagination, it's like, at least in this point in time, like, there's no physical instrument that even comes close to measuring that. But you do have your own personal experience. So in the same way that, I can drop an apple 1,000 times and, unless there's a super strong gust of wind or something like that, it's going to fall down. And you can make the conclusion that gravity is a thing. Well, you can do a similar thing when it comes to sort of like metaphysical phenomena. Like, you can be your own experiment. So this video is for the person who is curious enough that, or like intrigued enough that they want to, delve a little bit deeper into this and try to figure out what's going on. Not for the person that's looking for like a skeptical argument, because everything I'm going to say in this video you can rip apart. But I'm hoping that by the end of this I can deliver you a sort of like very basic foundation that might allow you to notice stuff happening, like notice this phenomena of thoughts happening. So I'm just going to use this analogy. So imagine there is a bank company, and there's a central hub, and around it there are all these branches, right? Now, if you were one of those branches, and let's say there was like something missing, like a computer, let's say a computer broke and you need a computer. You wouldn't call another branch and be like, hey, do you guys have a computer? They might have one, but it might not be the right one or whatever. What you would do is call a central hub and be like, hey, need a computer, what's going on? And either they'll deliver you a computer or they'll give you instructions. And maybe that instruction might be to call, a certain branch that has a surplus of the exact computer that you need, and then you can call them. But calling them wouldn't be a guess. It would be like, okay, I trust the certainty of this central hub, because the central hub has all access to all information. So what happens is that in our human experience, we have this similar phenomena going on where we have an open line of communication to a source. Let's say, like, I'm not going to explain in this video, but consciousness. Basically, like, consciousness being the source of all experience. We are we have a direct connection with that. And our feelings, our inner feelings, guide us to opening that connection. So in this metaphor, you have you phoning the central hub. That action of phoning, that the best word I can, like, imagination. Imagination is like, I would say that's like the most accurate word to describe it. Imagination is you phoning the central hub, requesting something. Now, and intuition is the central hub instructing you on what to do. So a lot of us, we live very non-intuitive lives. And I know that was basically like, I lived this totally non-intuitive life before that, like very logical, very like, what's like, my intellect says that the best way to get this thing is to go through here, here, here. I never trusted my feelings to guide me to places. So now that I see that my feelings are a direct indication to the degree that the telephone line between you and the instructions or the delivery of the thing is, then, I have a tendency to value my emotional well-being more than whatever I think is, might be more important than that. So this is kind of how it is. This is kind of like, here's the basic foundation. If you can feel good right now, if you can see your mind as more of a focusing machine, and that you can choose to direct focus wherever you want, and you consciously choose every single moment of your waking life as much as you can. Like, now is the only time you have the power, but like, now is the eternal now. Whatever, I think you already know what I'm talking about. Like, right now you have the power to focus your mind anywhere. And if you're looking at a situation and saying, this situation has caused me to feel this way, well, behind that situation is you focusing on it. So if you instead choose to focus on something that feels good, even though it seems like you're turning a blind eye to something and that might bite you in the ass, what you're doing is you're opening that conduit between you and source, between you and the central hub, so that when that intuitive message to do that thing or being at the right place at the right time happens, you'll be there to receive it. So what we do, like what I did at least, and what many people in our society do, is we phone central hub, which we kind of do instinctively. We're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice if? Like the moment you're like, wouldn't it be nice if? And you imagine, being super rich, or having like a really nice home, or having your dream job, or having like the perfect spouse, or whatever. The moment that you say, it would be nice if, you're automatically phoning the central hub. Now, you need to play your part, and you need to trust. This is like the part that we don't do, is we call the central hub, we're like, hey, I need this, and then we yank the wire out. We're like, why didn't that thing ever come? It's like, because you, in your continuous choice to focus on the things that are causing you to feel bad, you're blocking the messages that are coming to you, that are guiding you to the places to be, so you can be at the right place at the right time to receive the thing that you want. So, like, simply, summary is like, okay, you called the central hub, super easy. You can imagine something that you want. Think about something that you want, or whatever, something simple. The orchestration of you getting that thing has already, like, the moment you call central hub, they already know how, like, the easiest way for you to get that, and they know your part you have to play in getting that thing. You don't know that. You don't know the part. But you can trust that if your conduit is open, generally, then when it's time for you to play your part, if there is a time for you to play your part, because a lot of times there isn't, you will know what to do at the right time. You'll get an intuitive hit. Be like, oh, go hang out with this person. Then you're going to hang out with that person. You're going to bump into someone else. That someone else is going to have the thing that you want. So that's sort of generally how it works. If you literally, like, spend your time focusing on the things that make you feel good, tuning your mind into that better feeling place. Your mind is like a radio tuner. Your thoughts are like a radio tuning knob. And like, it might take a little tiny bit of practice for you to just, like, just temporarily look away from this thing that is bothering you and look towards something you like, either that you have or maybe just an imagination, but whatever it is, whatever you can do inside to make yourself feel good. And once you get into that good feeling place, then the conduit is wide open and you're basically ready to receive the message. And you'll do it in such a way that you won't even know that you've received it. Because by having that open conduit, everything that you do when that conduit is open is intuitive. I'm going to just end this video with like a kind of a quick example. So 5 weeks ago-ish, my girlfriend Rose decided that she wanted to find more meaningful work. And one Saturday morning, she was on her computer, like looking at jobs, and she was like, okay, I decided what I want to be. And it's exactly this. I want to be a community support worker. That's what I want to be. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. So later that day, our friend was like, oh, let's all hang out. And it was just a day that we just naturally spent in a good feeling place. And when I say place, I mean mental place. We spent it with the conscious intention to feel good in every moment that we can by focusing on the things that feel better. So we did that. 8 hours later, or maybe dinner time came around, and we were having fun eating sushi, and Rose's friend introduced her to a new friend, and her name was Amy, and Rose and Amy were kind of getting along, and eventually we were all having fun. And then Rose asked, she's like, what do you do? And Amy was like, oh, I'm a community support worker. And Rose is like, oh, wow. That's exactly what I want to be. And she was like, well, we have so much work. Just apply. You'll for sure get it. And, starting, what is today, July 6th or something, or 5th? She's been working as a community support worker since July 1st. So, an onlooker who isn't familiar with this phenomena will classify that as a lucky coincidence. But if you live your life with that open conduit as often as you can, which is, why wouldn't you do that? It feels amazing. If you do that, the solutions to your problems will appear to fix themselves. You'll be in the right place at the right time. You're going to feel good all of the time. So, yeah, that's the premise. That is the basic. That is the fundamental sort of if I could break it down into a model, that would be my model. So, imagination. Also, you could call it prayer too if you want. But any sort of, it would be nice if. Any kind of that feels good, that comes from a good feeling place, that's oh, it would be so nice if. That is you phoning the central hub source. Feeling good, finding a good feeling, thinking space, staying in a good feeling space. You can always tune in, if you have the intention, if you decide that you want to feel good now, look away from the thing that's making you feel bad, mentally, or physically even. Tune into the things that are going on that you like, and then you'll feel good. And when you feel good, the pipes are open. And when the pipes are open, you're going to receive the messages at the right place at the right time. And you're going to run into coincidences. But this time, when it happens, you're going to know that it's not a coincidence. So that's basically I summed it up in 15 minutes. So 6 or 5 minutes over my designated time. But I'm hoping that, keep an eye out. Be aware of this happening. And have fun, I guess. Yeah, peace.